Hello and welcome to another tutorial for EMP. So this time I want to show you about how to work with dashboards and create dashboards and just some basics about how to handle them. So first of all, you only have access to the dashboarding functionality if you got the required permissions from an administrator, and depending on the permissions you have, you will see more or less things. So if you are only a dashboard viewer, you will only have this shared tab and the favorites tab. And if you also are allowed to create dashboards, you will have the My Dashboards tab and the Archive tab as well. And if you're a dashboard administrator, you also will have the Admin Archive and the Admin tab. So here basically you see all the dashboards in the Admin tab of every user, just all the dashboards that exist, and you can also access all of them. This is useful in case you have like kind of a supporting role and are able to look into all the dashboards to help out your colleagues. And in the Admin Archive, you see all the archived dashboards that any person has archived and are not active anymore. Okay, cool. So in the Shared Dashboards tab, you basically see all the dashboards that are shared with you, either as just a viewer or as an editor. And in the Favorites dashboard, you see all the dashboards that you have marked as favorite. This is also shown up here. So when you click here on this favorite icon, you get all the dashboards that you have marked as favorite. What makes it useful in case you are already on a dashboard, like here. Ignore the error messages. This is just one that I made for testing. Now, let me get this away. Thank you. So you can basically click up here and change to another dashboard directly instead of having to go to your favorite list back and then click there again. Okay, cool. So let's see, how do we create a dashboard in case we are somebody that is allowed to create dashboard? So we just have here a button, create dashboard. Let's say we create one test and we can give here a description, my first dashboard. We can provide some text that you can use for filtering or just to say a little bit, okay, what is this dashboard about? First dashboard in EMP. Then with this option here, you can say, is your dashboard shared or not? Depending on the settings that your administrator have set, this might be yes by default. And then you can choose some users that you want to share your dashboard with. Let me see what kind of users that I have in my system, because I'm not sure. Let's take Alejandro. Just one trick here, if you already saw that, if you just put 3 percentage signs or 2 percentage signs, you get just a list of all the users, and can select and you can select them from the list. Good. So here we have the users We can also share with some groups. So we have various groups here. The same with editors, so we can use some. We can choose some users here, and we can choose groups that we specify and allow to actually edit this dashboard. We can set say here yes or no. If the editors can also edit these settings here, and not only the contents of the dashboards. We can set the whole thing public. When we set this public, we get a URL that we can share with other people that cannot log in to EMP itself. And we can also say that it should start by default in full screen mode. What is useful in case of you display it on a monitor, or it gets started automatically. Okay, cool. I don't want to have a sharing here, so let's just create this one. So it shows up in the list here. As we are already looking into sharing, if you get permissions to create your own groups, you can create your own groups here, where you can create a list of people that you can add to dashboards and share these dashboards with them. That's very useful if you create like 5 or 10 dashboards and you always want to add the same people and you don't want to type in the same people like 10 times. So you can save yourself a lot of work by just creating a group and only adding this group once. Okay, let's go back to dashboard. Now we have our test dashboard here. So to edit it and to view what is on the dashboard, we go to test. We just click on the name. We can as well click on view here. So either the name or the view. And then we can click on edit to add one of the widgets here. For a beginning, let's take a very simple text widget. So we have a widget that we can place wherever we want. Let's be cheeky and just place it here. Now here we have some buttons that we can use to work with this widget. So this one is to duplicate it. Then this one will delete the widget. We can have all these different options here. We can copy the widget. So when we copy it, it's copied to the clipboard. We can use Ctrl V. And just with Ctrl V, we can insert it in this dashboard, or we can also go to another dashboard and enter it there. Now, other shortcuts that we have here is Ctrl Z to revert some of the changes that we did, or Ctrl Y to redo the changes that we did. So if you do kind of a mistake, you can use Ctrl Z and Ctrl Y to redo and undo your changes. This works as well with like moving things around, as you see, and other changes as well. Okay, so let's see. When we go to edit, we have up here, we have a manual panel that you can click. And here you basically get a little bit of documentation, what this whole thing is about, and some more data, how you use it and so on. So this one is very simple. It's just a plain text information. where you can add things. For example, let's add some content. I like tiramisu. So we save that, and there it is. Okay, so the next thing is we have here some tabs. So these are the settings here that are specific for each widget. So in this case, we have just text. If we take another one, let's say the HTML editor. Here we have another option where we can actually create some more advanced content. Say, for example, something like this. Or let's say we have a checklist. This is actually a very nice widget to handle some data. So you can add some additional points here. It also allows you to have some links to, for example, I don't know, your task management tool. Let's say we have something like this. So you have directly a link to a task or so, and you can mark these and throw them away again. So this is just like one example. And as you see here, we have some more options. So we don't only have the content, we also have an option strike through, and we also have an option sort. So it really depends on the widget, what you see under widget settings. Okay, so we have these standard settings here, and these settings are the same for all the widgets. So we have a title. We can remove that. So we save a little bit of space, so we don't need a title all the time, and depending on the dashboard you want to display more or less, and this one can help to save a lot of space that is else wasted. Let's see my message. Save. So we can put a link on the title. Let's say we put a link to Google. Then the title will be a link. That is useful in case you display some kind of data that you get from another tool or from a database, and you want to link to a certain website or a certain overview page where you get more details or more insights into what you display in this specific widget. You can add some title info. This is some info for you. Let's save that. And then you see you get this info sign here in front of the title, where you can hover, or your user can hover to get some more information about this specific widget here. Now you can add a font size, let's say 32, so you can make the title bigger. Let's remove that again. We can define the title position. So we can, for example, say we want it on the left. So we get the title on the left. This can be useful to display widgets in kind of a list, like below each other. Excuse me. Like this. And you also have other options, like you can display the title on the bottom or on the right. You can change the size of the content. Okay, so it's not allowed, so let's take 32 again. So we have increased font size. Let's take this away again, and you can add a footer with some details. Let's say hello, and you have here a footer that is just some kind of information about what is this widget about. Okay, now another thing that you can do, you can change the colors of widgets. For example, let's say we take some kind of green as the background color. So the whole thing gets green. And as the front color, let's use red. Nobody can read that, so let's use like some kind of yellowish pink. This can be useful if you want to make kind of groups of widgets and visualize a little bit what sticks together, what is like things that are grouped together. For example, you can have here a label and say this is my app A. This stuff here is my app B. So you can visually group things a little bit together to get give kind of a hint to your users what sticks together and what not. Okay, let's see what else we have. We can make certain widgets invisible. That's useful if you don't want to throw it away, but currently you don't want to show it. And this is only when you are not inside of the edit mode. So as you see, currently I see it. And when I go out of edit mode, I will not see this specific widget that I set onto is invisible. So let's take this out again. And then we can pause a widget. So if you have some kind of widget that is currently throwing an error because system in the background is not there or is not working properly, you can set it on pause. And then basically there is just a pause symbol shown. And you hover here, widget paused. So in case you want to work on it or you don't want to show it to the user but you don't want to remove it, this can be also kind of useful. Now we have another option that is the manual load. So when you click this one and set this to yes, you get here a button that you have to click to load this data of the widget. This was built in for like widgets that take a long time to load and that you might not want to load every time when you open the dashboard, but only use in certain cases where you need to analyze some specific data and so on. So this makes your dashboard kind of faster to load, and you also reduce the load on your backend systems or your databases and stuff like that. Now the param widget load, this will make the widget only load when a parameter has been changed or the parameters have been updated. So this means we have here an advanced widget, parameters, and we can put here some parameters. I will show that later. And when we click update, then this one will load, or it should at least. Let me see, affected on update. So we have multiple of these. Let me change this here. Let's say we have my message B. So here we can say my message B. Save. And now hopefully when we click update, then it's loading. So if I reload that, you see it's not here. So it will only load this data when I click update. Okay, and just as we are already on it with the parameters, let's just add one of the parameters here to give you some kind of reality. Let's say text and the default value hello. So now what we can do here, we can, oh no, I was a little bit fast. So here we can edit the parameters widget and say what kind of parameters we want to show to the user. So we want to show the text parameter. We save that, and then the user can enter some kind of text. Let's say, for example, the text is panna cotta. We click update, and then this parameter is set, but it's nowhere used. So, and parameters we can use like with these placeholders. So instead of I like tiramisu, we say I like parameter name between $2. Then when we click update here, then you see panna cotta is put here where the parameter is. When I say tiramisu, and I click update, then we have the parameter put here as the tiramisu. This is useful when you have various kinds of database queries and stuff like that. You can insert these parameters into database queries or the query language of EMP itself and such kind of things. So it makes it quite useful and cool. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. So that was the param widget load setting. Now let's see some of the standard widgets. So we have a text, what we already saw. We have a label. So we have these kind of labels here, and we can also put a link onto this label, and we can change the orientation of the label. For example, if you want to have something on the side, we can put the link, let's say some ticketing or so, and we can say if the link should open in a new window or not, and we can increase the size of this label by just increasing this factor however we are, however we want to change it. Okay, so this is one interesting widget. Then these are just some example widgets that you can use to make a mock-up of a dashboard. Checklist can be useful to have common checklists with your friends and colleagues. You can add a table as a CSV file. You can add tags. You can add an image as a URL. You can display a website in case the website allows it. Not all websites allow to let them display on another website. Let's see, like for example, I can display the dashboard list here. So I can display a website inside of a website. You can also add the YouTube video and the refresh time. So the refresh time is just the time when the dashboard was the last time refreshed. As you see, this counts up and gives the current time. Okay, so this is about some of the standard widgets that you can use. Let me clean up some of these here. Now we have more advanced widgets. For example, the default refresh time. So this basically sets the time up here, which is basically just an interval that says please refresh this dashboard automatically, what can be useful when you display it on some kind of monitor or so. And you can choose a default time, for example, let's say all 15 minutes, you save it, and then whenever this is on off, it should set the default time. If you have selected something else, then it will use this refresh time. This was actually introduced because some browsers clean up the cache and all the data that you saved about the website, and then it will reset this reload to reload off, and this widget will allow you to set this default refresh time. And as you see, by default this widget is hidden, because normally you don't want the user to see that. We have a force refresh widget, so this is basically just a button. So all the data of the widgets that is fetched from a database or another source is cached for 1 minute. So the reason why we are doing that is we don't want to overload the databases that we want to, where we grab the data from and so on. So we cache the data for 1 minute, and if somebody else in this minute refreshes the dashboard, every user will load it from the cache and not from the database. And after 1 minute, it will get refreshed and taken from the database again. However, with this button, you can force a refresh, and then the data, when you press this button, will get loaded from the data source where you are grabbing the data from, ignoring the whole caching. Good, so we have the parameter widget. As we already saw here, we can add parameters to the dashboard. Let's add another one just for fun. So we can define a select. For example, we can define a value, let's say Apple option A, orange option B, and what else do we have? Tiramisu, choose this, So we have select, let's say options. So the name of the parameter is options, and these are the values that we can select. So we save this. And now we want to add it here. So we search here for the parameter, which is options. We add it, save, and now the user can choose this option here. Let's put this here. So we have $options. So we save that, and we see that we have the label, and then we have the value, right? So the label is what you see in the selection box, and the value is what will be placed in the where you put the parameter. This can be useful in case when you want to replace some values in a database query, and this is kind of cryptic or so, and you just want to give specific options. Or for example, you have kind of an ID for that you want to fetch data from, but you don't want to give the ID to the user, but the name of that item, for example, the name of a restaurant or so. So, and when the user changes it here, let me refresh this here, then you see that this will be refreshed. So now it wasn't refreshed because we only defined here affected on update. So when we define this list here, it will only affect the ones that we set here. When we throw this away, then it should affect all the widgets. Okay. We have some other options. We can change the label of the button here, so we can say click me. So it's click me. We can say we want to check for a password. So we can set here 1, 2, 3, 4. Save. And then the user of the dashboard, when he clicks here, he has to provide the password for the thing, for that to be actually executed. So we have a password prompt. Let's say I enter a wrong password like 88888. Then we say you get the message password verification failed, and the data is not updated. But when I say give the correct password 1, 2, 3, 4, then the data is properly updated here. Okay. You can also say here if enabled loads previously selected values. When you say here no and save this, then when you select an option and you click it, now I have the password still close. Good. So what will happen here is, let me do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close. So now we have these values, but when we refresh this page, then it will reset the values that we chose. Else it would store the values if we didn't set this one here. This can be useful in case you want to reset it back to the initial values. Yeah. So much to the parameters. Let's see. The replica widget, that's also a very nice one. This one is used to basically copy the exact same widget, normally from another dashboard. So let me do that shortly. Let's say we have some kind of dashboard where we have some notes or something. Let's say notes. And now we put here some bullet points. By dessert, by Italian food, etc. So now we might want to have these notes on another dashboard. So this dashboard is called test. Let's go to the various one and throw this away. So we can add this replica widget here and say we want to have a widget copied from the dashboard test. And the widget that we want to copy is the notes. And now we have this one here. So it basically replicates whatever is in the other dashboard. So we cannot edit the content here of this dashboard because it's a replica. But when we go back to this test dashboard here, let me just add this to my favorites. Now I can change here, bring out the trash, save. Now we have updated this widget. When we now go back to the sandbox, then the same data is put here. So it will really take the same widget data that you have on the other dashboard. Now this can be very, very useful to collect data from various teams and to have kind of an overview of what is going on in your area or your sector or your department or something like that. It's also useful if you have a dashboard that not everybody should be able to edit, but you want to give certain widgets where users still can add something. So this was the original idea behind this. We had a dashboard where that was kind of complex and we didn't want to give it free for everyone. So we created this replica widget, created another dashboard, gave the users permission to that dashboard, and they could add that information there, and we replicated it onto the more complex dashboard. Let's go back to the test and let's see what else I can talk about. We have a JavaScript widget that is a little bit more advanced, where you can actually add some JavaScript. So by the way, we have a text area field, and most text area fields have up here a small button where you can increase the size of it so you see a little bit better what is inside of it and can easier edit whatever is there. So this is a sample script. So you can add any kind of JavaScript. This is only allowed if you have specific permissions. By default, only the admins have these permissions. Or not even the admins, let me see. I think only super users. We check here, we have the super user role that by default is only the admin, the default admin. And I think these ones... Exactly, the admins do not have by default the JavaScript option, only super users. But you can add them here and allow them to enter JavaScript on a website. And if you have this option, then you can actually edit and add these JavaScript widgets. We can add PyScript things. What as you see, we have more tiramisu here. It's always good to have enough tiramisu in your examples. PyScript is kind of a JavaScript library that allows you to run Python in the browser. And this is just a small example how to do that. Yeah, so that's one of the options you have here. You can display query results. That's one of the most frequently used widgets that you can find in EMP. Let's say we have source random. That's just one thing that generates some test data. So we can save that here, and we have this data displayed here in this query. And yeah, this is one of the more advanced ones. As you see, you have other widgets here. You can grab stuff from a database. You can evaluate a response from a website and various other things. Good. So let's see. One other thing that we have here is we have task settings. And these task settings are in most cases on the widgets used to create alerting. So what you can do with that is, in case your administrator has set up the emailing inside of the application, you can create emails that alert you when some kind of value of the data that you are loading is reaching certain thresholds. For example, when we go here and we execute this, we have here various values, and here we have a value that is just a random number from 1 to 100. And we can say, okay, good, if this value is getting bigger than, let's say, 80, we want to be informed. So what we can do here is we say we enable the task. We say we want to run this every 15 minutes. So whenever we have twice in a row, when this is executed, a value that is higher than 80, then we want to be informed. And if there is no value twice in a row, then in this case we say, okay, everything is fine again. We say how long it should take until we get another alert before another alert is triggered. So we don't want always to like get back and forth and get emails all the time, and this will basically say if we had an alert and it resolved, wait for 60 minutes until we get another one. In case the alert is going on for a very long time, we can set here resend alert delay minutes, and this basically, when it's ongoing, will say wait for this amount of minutes until you resend that this problem is still there. So here it's currently set on 10 hours. So let's say we get an email, hey, your value reached the threshold at 10 a.m. Then we won't get an email as long as the issue is persisting for 10 hours, and then we will get another email around 10 p.m. That would then be 10 hours later, 8 p.m. in the evening. Okay, so here we can set which users we want to alert. We can also alert the whole group. We can say we want to have this in the application log, in the notifications, or per email. So I have the email set up. we can put here a schedule. Let me put that. I will trigger it manually afterwards. We want to get the value from the field value. This is what we want to check. The rest we can leave blank. You can hover here to see what it is and get more details what you have to fill in here. Maybe with the URL field we can also use, that's URL in this case, URL. And we say threshold green is 0, we say 20, 40, 60, 80. So this will just give us some kind of color thingy, and we say when the alert has reached the threshold red, then we want to be alerted. So let's save this. Now this is put here as a job, as you see here, and I can trigger this job manually. So when I execute this, let me see if I have put everything correctly. Where's my dashboard? Here. So we have source random, and exactly it has to occur 2 times in a row, so I have to execute it another time. And now theoretically, exactly, now we got an error because some of the records of these 1000 records had an issue. We get a notification up here in EMP that something was not all right, and we get the whole list of all the records that was in this query that had a value above 80. So this can be very useful to monitor like a lot of things at once. So if you want to monitor like 5,000 items at once, this can be very, very useful for you. So this is now how it looks in EMP. I should have my, so I have my paper cut open here. So, and paper cut is basically just a test application for emailing. And here you see the email that you get here. And some of the other fields that are in the task settings, like these here, will define like what kind of data will be put here. Let's see, we have some other messages. This is another example. Yeah, these are more or less all the same examples. You also have a link here to the dashboard that created it, so you can directly jump to that dashboard that created this alerting. Let me see. You also have, in these alerting emails, you also have by default some additional data like CSV, JSON, and details which job it actually triggered. So just that you fast find out what caused this message. Okay, cool. So I don't want to have messages, so I turn this off here and save it. Okay, so this is more or less the thing how this whole dashboarding stuff is working. Another thing, when you are on the dashboard and you can edit it, you can go here on edit and click here on the settings, and you can here directly edit the settings of this specific dashboard. In the settings of the dashboard you also have the statistics, and this basically gives you the statistics how your dashboard is currently being used, like how often is it called, how many how often do you have a refresh and stuff like that. What makes it useful to analyze, like, is this dashboard still used, or can we throw it away, or what is happening here? Then we have the version tab as well in the settings, and you can basically here create kind of backups or different versions where you want to try something out, to make examples or something. So when you click here on new version, you create the new version. So this is version 1. The current version is always the one that is displayed. So we can open this one. We get a message, oh, you are not on the current version, but you can now edit this one. So instead of test, let's say this is the Apple dashboard. We update it and we change some things, like we put this up here. What makes it look very bad, but we don't care. So we can go back to the current version. So this is our current version. And when we go back here and say versions, now we can switch the current version with the Apple dashboard version. So let's do that right now. Let's click here to switch our versions, switch. So you see the current version now is the Apple dashboard. So we close this and we reload this dashboard. And now you see we are currently viewing the second version, and we go back to the current version, which is now the Apple dashboard. This is useful if you want to give all the users a new dashboard, but you want to keep the sharing. So this will also like update all the favorites of the people and so on. So as you see, my test dashboard is not the favorite anymore, but now the Apple dashboard is in my favorites. Good. So as my recording stopped before because I ran out of disk space and I had to restart the recording, I think it's a good time to now stop this tutorial because it also is now quite long. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and you are now able to dashboard away and create a lot of craziness in EMP.